Hi, my name is Talabi Olufolajimi. I'm the team leader of JB Akinyowe and Sons Enterprises. I'm a certified agribusiness coach by ICRA, a certified Nike trainer, and also a certified trainer by Cole ACP on food safety and FTW. I'm an agribusiness consultant. I've worked on a number of projects sponsored by both international and national organizations where we are meant to train local vegetable farmers on best modern practices aimed at increasing their livelihood. We have also helped in facilitating their linkages to the market and also help them in improving their practices, which has tremendously increased the livelihood of some of the farmers that have adopted the innovation. So I will be speaking on agriculture, a great means of wealth creation. But before I go on, I want to appreciate the effort of Calatage World Outreach for giving me this opportunity to speak with youth out there who might be interested in agriculture, and also want to appreciate every youth out there for carving out the time to listen to this session. And I'm very optimistic that at the end of the day, there's always something you will take home that you can make reference to in the nearest future. The end of this session, I will want the listener to understand what it takes to be successful in vegetable business and also to understand the opportunities in vegetable business. But the session majorly is going to be based on horticultural production, specifically vegetable production, and also I will be using Nigeria production and marketing of vegetable production as a case study. Now, I understand that what some people that are listening to this program might not be within Nigeria, and they may need to use the resources they are going to get here and then tailor it to their own local condition. Now, there's no doubt that the market opportunities in vegetable production is enormous. And there's no doubt that there are so many people that have been in this business that are facing one challenge or the other. There's no doubt about that. But I want you to understand that if a business is it's full of challenges, it is not enough to say the business is not a workable one. That you have so many organizations or whatsoever running bankruptcy in a particular field, that is not enough to say, oh, there are no opportunities in that field. In Nigeria, for example, we have some telecommunication giants having problems here and there over the course of the year, and there are some of them that are still declaring billions of naira as net profit on a quarterly basis. It's still the same field. So what happened is that in the case of those people that have not been able to have been having challenges, what they fail to do is that they fail to unlock what it takes to be successful in that particular business. So also this is applicable to vegetable production as a business. There are so many challenges in it, no doubt about it. But once you have been able to unlock the key to success, I can tell you, is something that you can create a niche in, and at the end of the day, you can boast of a very, very impressive weekly or perhaps monthly income that you can build the whole financial sustainability on. Now, vegetable production is it attractive because of the fact that it has a short maturity duration. You know, there are some of those crops that as short as a month, 4 weeks or 6 weeks. That's for 5 days. They are ready for you are already smiling to the market. And on the average, most vegetable use 3 months. They have 3 month maturation period. And then another advantage that it has is that the price per quantity is much compared to other staple crops like cassava, like maize. So and also the demand is on the high side because of the fact that there is so much many people that will require that they take vegetables on daily basis, or even particularly towards weekend where people are into festivity. I mean, engaging in festivity or partying among other things, or caterers among other that use vegetables, tomato, pepper among other things. And also the return on investment is very, very impressive. Among all the agricultural venture, or both plant and animal, One of the ones that can ascertain that almost 100% on return on investment is vegetable. It can give you as much as 100% return on investment. There's no doubt about that. And also the cost of production is low comparatively anyway to some other ventures like, let's say, livestock, among other poultry, among other ventures like that. The cost of production is not that much. And you can also run the business on a zero infrastructure. And you can hardly do that, for example, for poultry. You can't run poultry on a zero infrastructure, but you can do that for vegetables. All you need is a piece of land that is suitable enough, that is secured, and you are good to go. And if it happens to be in dry season, a very good source of water. And also the land area that you require is not much. With a plot of land, you can be a commercial farmer in vegetable production. You can hardly do that for cassava, even for maize. But vegetable production, you can be in and out every month on a plot of land once you know what you are doing. There's always a way of planning. And also, the venture gives you an opportunity to do some other things apart from vegetable production. You can take it as a side income-making venture. So then when you want to go into vegetable production, like I used to say, there are 3 pillars of success that you must ensure that you know very, very well. And once you know these 3 pillars of success, I can tell you there's no doubt about it that you are going to be making it in it. Now, number 1 is the production. I term it the production. Then number 2, the logistic. And number 3 is the market. Once you're able to combine these 3 ingredients together and you know them very well, I can tell you that you are going to be smiling to the bank every now and then. Now, what do I mean by production? Now, production has to do with a whole lot of things that has to do around technicalities. For example, if you are interested in going into tomato production, do you understand the technicality it takes? Does it require nursery? How do you transplant? What stage do you need to transplant? Those are the technicalities involved in, let's say, tomato production. What about cucumber? Those ones are among those type of vegetables that are called direct seeded, that you plant them directly. So you need to understand the technicalities about it, which kind of nursery you need to erect, what kind of materials you need to do for nursery. Do you want to plant on seed bed, or you want to use a medium like, let's say, a seed tray, among other things. So you need to understand all these things. Then once you understand all these things, I can tell you that at least you have the foundation upon which you can build on. Then going forward, you also need to understand the labor aspect of it. If you really want to do vegetable as a business, you want to grow bigger, there's no doubt about it that you will need to be employing people. You will need to get people on a payroll every month or on the annual basis, because there's a limit to what you can do on alone. So also in many other businesses, if you really want to grow bigger, then you must get other people and get them paid to do the job for you. So also in vegetable production, the labor aspect of it is an integral aspect of it. In fact, the labor is like the live wire of what you are doing. It's like the live wire of that very business. Now, there are different forms of remuneration that you can place labor on. There's what we call the ad hoc staff, the one that you pay on a daily basis. There are some set of labor that you place them on, laborers that you place them on a monthly salary, and there are some that you place them on annual salary. So you need to understand this concept, this factor. You need to understand what you need to do and which kind of labor will fit you as regards to the making reference to the surrounding where you found yourself. For example, in the northern part of Nigeria, you can source for laborers easily. You could use 10 sets of laborers today and decide to use another 10 sets tomorrow, because they are always knocking at your door. They are readily available with a very competitive daily wages. But daily wage. But in the southern part of Nigeria, no, you can't try that. You can't be relying on an ad hoc staff, because you will never get them. If you get them today, it's not sure that you get the same set tomorrow. You even get another set. So which is the reason why, if you're in the southern part of Nigeria, you might be looking at saying, okay, I want to engage my laborers as a staff of this organization that will be placed on monthly salary. But even at that, you still need to think around ad hoc stuff as well. I will mention this as we go on. So you need to understand this very, very factor. And another thing is the costing and the budgeting. You want to go in, it's applicable to every business. You want to start any business, you need to understand the costing and the benefit. But that will give you an idea of the return on investment. Because if you don't have an idea, if you can't do the costing and the budgeting, there's no doubt that you will be able to say, okay, this is an idea of what I'm expecting at the end of the month or at the end of the year whatsoever. You need to have an idea of that. So you need to do the costing of the input, the costing of the labor, the costing of the land, if it is on lease or you want to buy the land, the costing of the material, every material, even machinery. If you are a big time farmer and you want to make use of machinery, you need to do the costing. And at the end of the day, you can say, okay, this is the amount of money I will budget for this and that and that. And at the end of the day, it will give you an idea of what you have used, and it will give you an idea of what you are expecting in order to keep on running the business forward, or moving the business forward. And also the land location. Where do you want to situate your land? Yeah, and that is a very critical factor that I'm still going to be talking about, the land location. You must ensure security, you must ensure accessibility, you must ensure the right ingredient, the right type of soil for also the particular vegetables that you want to cultivate. For example, if it is a root vegetable like carrot, like beetroot, you must ensure that it is a sandy, loamy soil that is loose enough to allow easy penetration of the root, because that is what we are going to sell at the end of the day. You must work on the soil. You must not go for soggy soil or the one that retain a lot of water. So there are some vegetables that prefer that kind of soil as well. So that is the reason why you need to find out which particular ventures you want to actually major in order to know the kind of soil that you need to be looking for, and the area where we are going to locate your land. And also the application protocol. What do I mean by that? Okay, now that you have, let's say, cultivate cucumber, you've cultivated tomato, you've cultivated watermelon, what are the fungicide? What are the kind of pesticide, the fungicide, the herbicide, the nematicide that is required, the foliar fertilizer, and even the granular fertilizer that you might require to bring out the best in your crops? You need to understand it. So when you understand, how do you apply them? On what basis? You need to understand that very. That's what I refer to as application protocol. You need to be grounded in this thing. Every two weeks, I want to be applying targeted fertilizer application. I want to make use of targeted fertilizer application in order for me to prevent leaching, or I want to do side dressing. I want to do BASA application, or I want to do broadcasting, which is not actually advisable in vegetables anyway. So you need to understand on what regular basis. Now, also in conjunction with that, you need to understand what scouting is. Scouting is a process, or is a practice of looking for insects on your farm, insect infestation, or insect encroachment on your farm. You want to look for a particular insect in order for you to be proactive, to act on time. Are they leaf feeders? Are they sapsucker? Are they borers? And among other things. So you need to be scouting your farm from time to time in order for you to know which kind of application you need to engage. And also, you need to understand all form of agrochemicals that are available in the market to deal with all these problems I've mentioned, all these challenges that are common with vegetable production. If it is even organic, you need to understand it. The available materials that you can use to counter or to put away infestation by insects and diseases. So, and when you are talking about fungicide, insecticide, or herbicide in conventional farming, you need to understand this thing by active ingredient, not necessarily by brand. What I mean by brand is that, for example, you have an example or I'm not being partisan anywhere. You have an example of a sharpshooter as an insecticide. What is the active ingredient of this? You should understand all these agrochemicals by their active ingredients rather than by their brand name, because there are times that you may not get that brand and you look for an alternative. And you need to understand the fact that the chemicals are more quality than each other. And so you need to stick with the brands that work very well. And also, you talk about the improved practices in the field of vegetables that you want to get yourself engaging. If it is tomato, for example, during the rainy season, do you need to stake it? and sterilize it. It is very much essential also for cucumber in order to ensure easy ventilation and to put away diseases or to stem the infestation of diseases and pests. When you stake, there will be enough ventilation. So you need to understand how do you stake and sterilize cucumber, for example. And also, if it is, let's say, carrot, you need to work on the soil. How do I do it? Those are the improved practices that you must ensure. Or, for example, if it is cauliflower, do you understand what it's called blanching? You need to blanch it against the scorching sun and direct impact of rain in order to have a good, or head that has a good market appeal. So those are the practices that you must ensure that you understand. Please, you must ensure that you understand it. And also the harvesting and the storage measures. How do you harvest it? How do you store it? If at all you are not going to the market immediately, how do you package it? So you need to understand that by going for training. And I do suggest practical training. I do suggest most of the time practical training, farm hand-on engagement rather than reading on the internet. You might read on the internet to supplement your effort that you have made on the feed. There's no doubt about it that there are so many resourceful materials on the internet as well. And also, lastly, for production, you need to understand record keeping. Record keeping, that is the soul of your business. Because if you don't keep records, you can't make reference. We are talking about budgeting and costing. Once you are able to keep for a year, you can make reference in the second year to the first year. How much did I spend on insecticide? How much did I spend on labor? So that if at all you want to scale up or you want to narrow down, you can get, okay, if I have spent, let's say, 200,000 on an acre of tomato last year, and from that 200,000 I spent let's say 100,000 on labor, and you want to do 2 acres or 3 acres, you know that you have to double or triple the amount of money you spent on labor. You have to budget it. That is what it means by costing. So, and also, among other things, there are different type of record. Anyway, we have the production record, and we have the financial record. But for an upcoming, also before I mention that, you also have the farm tools record. You have the workers record, and you have a whole lot of them. But for an upcoming farmers, what you actually need are just two types of record. Number one, you have the production record, where you have your daily activities, your routine activities, your weekly activity adequately recorded in it. You need that one. There's no doubt about it, because those are the kind of record you are going to be using for reference. For example, you have a particular pest infestation last year from probably flea beetles, and you have used certain brand that has certain active ingredient. In the following year, you couldn't get that one. Then you need to look at your record. What was the active ingredient of the one that worked at a particular time? And you look for it in the market. And also, for example, you've used a particular variety of seed or cultivar that have produced enormously good. So you need to make reference to this in your subsequent record keeping. I mean, your past record keeping, so as to know to inform your choice. Your choice. You in the record you have in the app production, which I've mentioned. You record your daily activities. You record your yield. You record your time of harvesting. You record virtually everything that you are doing that is non-financial. Then also you have the financial record, where you keep amount of money you are spending on each item on the farm. You might want to keep for laborers. You keep for laborers. You might write everything together. Anyway, you keep for laborers the amount you spend on pesticide, you spend on land preparation, the amount you spend on ad hoc staff. So at the end of the day, you can analyze this by using Excel as a template. You can look for an expert that can help you develop a template that you can use to now analyze this record you have, financial record you are taking. So by the time you analyze it, you can now say at the end of the day, for this past 3 months, I've spent 150,000 naira in total. I've spent 50,000 naira on laborers, 20,000 naira on herbicide, 40,000 naira on insecticide, for example. So you can be able to say that, so that you know if at all there's a wastage or there is excesses among other things. These are the kind of things that will give you an idea of where you are out getting it wrong. So you need to keep it. And also in farming, also you need to put yourself on salary, which means even while you are keeping the salary record for your workers, you need to also place yourself on salary as well, or perhaps maybe not on salary, but the expenses that you are incurring in terms of coming to the farm every day, you need to be keeping it, because that is what we call the man hour. So if you are not on the farm, obviously you'll be somewhere else, doing some activities that can be equate to having a financial return. So, and then for logistic, I talked about production. Then now for logistic, logistic has to do with intangible thing, particularly around decision making. And I can tell you, is the lubricant of this venture. If you don't understand the logistic, you might be good at production, you might be good at the market, but if your logistic is not perfect, there will be a lot of issues that will result into certain degree of losses that will be eating into your profit, your net profit. Now, if for example you want to locate your farm, you have to think of the market where you want to sell to, distance to the market. That is the logistic. Because at the end of the day, distance to the market is related, directly proportional to the amount of money you are going to be spending on transportation each time you want to move produce away from the farm. It will have implications. So you have to think about it. Now, and also, you also need to understand that the farther your farm is to the market, the more you must scale up your production. For example, now, if my farm is in Ekiti, and I want to be planting cauliflower and cucumber, for example, I know that in Ekiti, people hardly eat cucumber, particularly in suburb. They don't know much about cucumber. So if I'm planting cucumber and I'm targeting to sell at the state capital, which is Ado Ekiti, or I want to sell in Lagos or in Ibadan, then you must scale up your production. Do you know the reason? Let's say you have 1,000 stands of cucumber, for example. Your first harvest might not be more than 2 bags. But by the time, because your farm is farther in the interior of one of the local government, it will take you around to cover 40 kilometers to get to Ado, or to cover 100 of kilometers to get to Lagos and Ibadan. And you cannot be taking 2 bags of cucumber off the farm for this reason. And you cannot keep it on the farm because it's perishable. To the next harvest, it's perishable. It will be reducing in size and in quality as well, and in weight. So you might have to think about it, that, okay, why don't I scale up my production to, like, let's say 10,000 stands of cucumber, so that each of the time that I'm harvesting something sizable, quantifiable enough that I can engage a transport person, a transporter, to come and help me convey this thing to the market, my desired market. So like I said, the norm is, the farther your farm is to the market where you are targeting, the more you must scale up your production. And alternatively, it is not necessary that you scale up your production. You might synchronize your activities with like minds. For example, if I cannot afford more than 1,000 stand of cucumber, for example, then I can get people that share the same dream with me. We do it side by side on a piece of land. We synchronize our activities. So, well, let's say there are 5 of us, and each of us is planting 1,000 stands of cucumber. What it means is that at the surface is that we are all cultivating 5,000, because we've done it together. We've planted it the same time. That means we are going to harvest the same time. We might even be sharing labor. So whenever we want to harvest, we harvest it all together and we share the cost of transportation. That is what I mean by synchronizing your activity. You could do that. It helps a lot. Like they used to say, united we stand, divided we fall. So you must understand this very concept. Because even that one will help in the area of supervision. You make sure that as you are sharing labor, at least one of the 5 people must be on the farm each week, each day of the week, to supervise or to look at what is happening on the farm, so that you don't leave your feet entirely to your workers. So you must understand that very factor. The farther your farm is to the market, the more you must scale up your production in order for you to cater for cost of transportation, which takes an integral part of cost of production. At the cost of transport, I can tell you, we almost be competing with cost of labor, which usually happens to be the highest in most cases. So, and also, there's difference between that your farm is far and your farm is accessible. Your farm may be far and not accessible. You must ensure that your farm location is accessible, because that will affect your logistic. There's no doubt about it. The road network is accessible because I've been to some farms during my consultancy work. I've been to some farm, fantastic soil, fantastic farm, but unfortunately the accessibility is very, very difficult. Before, particularly during the rainy season, before a vehicle can move things from the farm, it will be a tug of war. You have to use a bike to move the produce from place to place before you can get to where a vehicle can get to easily. So you must understand this very, very factor, that your farm must be accessible because it will affect your cost of production eventually. It will affect your logistics. So always look for farms that are accessible enough. It is a key ingredient in success. And also the timing of delivery. That's also the logistic aspect of it. Now there are some markets that operate in such a way that the if you come early, and if you, for example, let me give you for example in Mile 12, if your produce, let's say tomato, come or tonight, you are meant to sell tomorrow morning, and you are able to come on time, it means that you'll be on the queue. So by the time they are offloading the next morning, you might be one of those that will be lucky that it will get your turn, that your produce will be offloaded. But in a situation whereby you come, let's say around 10 a.m. in the morning, you might need to queue and wait till the next day if there's so much produce on the ground. And what it means by that you know this is a perishable produce. So as long as you wait, the more the market value of that produce is reducing. So you must ensure timeliness of delivery, and timeliness of delivery also affect prices. I can tell you that. For example, if you are able to deliver, let's say for example towards weekend, there's a lot of festivity. Let's say in Lagos, for example, people wants to do party, people wants to do ceremony. So there's always a rush during Thursday and Friday for perishable veggies like tomato, like pepper. So if you are able to deliver around this time, you understand this concept. Though it is not a cast in iron in any way, so you can sell what you take to the market faster. So the timeliness of delivery is a factor, and it's the logistic aspect of vegetable production, and also the loading and the offloading of your produce. How do you load properly? How do you package it properly? You must understand all those factors, and also access to ad hoc staff is also an integral part of the logistic. You have regular workers. Like I used to say, for example, if you have an acre of tomato, you might not need more than 2 workers to do all the work on the farm. And somebody might be thinking, will the work not be too much for them? No. Now, the major routine activities can be taken care of by 2 people perfectly on an acre of tomato. The routine practice like spraying, like let's say fertilizer application. But when it comes to some major task, you might need to get ad hoc staff to help them. For example, let's say you want to transplant and you want to transplant within 2 days. You might need to get more people to help join hands with those 2 people you have on the farm to do the transplanting so that you can finish within 2 days. Or for example, you want to do harvesting. Or for example, you want to do weeding, manual weeding. You might need to get some other people within a time frame, because there are some of those activities on the farm that are time binding. If you mix the time, it will affect your net profit, no doubt about it. And also access to water. It is very key. It is very key in the around logistics, because your access to water, particularly during the dry season, which kind of water that you are looking to use to irrigate your farm. Is it from a well, from borehole, or even from a perennial water source like river, like stream, among other things? But remember that the volume of water that is available to be used should be directly proportional to the size of the farm that you are cultivating. I've seen farms going for like cultivating like 3-4 acres of vegetables, and they have just only 1 bowl, which is not even an industrial bowl. And at the end of the day, during the peak of the dry season, they begin to have a lot of water challenges that result on their crops dying in numbers or not producing to their maximum, because of the fact that they can't have access to the adequate daily water intake that is required by them. So it is very necessary that you quantify the available volume of water that you have, and you farm according to that site. For example, if you have a well, I don't expect you to be farming more than a plot of land or even a half plot of land, even though the well is it's perennial. That is, the water doesn't dry, because there's limit to the water that you can get from such well. compared to, let's say, an industrial bowl or even a perennial water source, natural water source like a river. Is you can't compare. On my farm, for an acre of cucumber, we use twice in a week up to like over 500,000 liters of water because we do full flooding. We understand that cucumber requires a lot of water during the dry season. The more water you're able to give, the better the yield. So we use furrow flooding instead of drip tape, among other things. We are able to get good results because we are located beside the river, which doesn't dry at all. So we are able to understand the fact that when we give much water, we get better results. So those are the factors that you must put around your logistic. Then lastly is the market. The market is the arrowhead of whatsoever you are doing. Even though your production is perfect, your logistic, your timing is perfect, your decision making is perfect, if your market is questionable, there's no doubt about it that you are not going to make profit because it's the market that will give you profit after all. You know, like we used to say, there's a dogma that we often use. Say, sell before you produce. We do tell our local farmers, you sell before you produce. And they often ask, how can you sell what you have not produced? Now, what we often mean by that is that you want to understand where you want to sell. At what price would they usually buy around that time of the year before you even decide to produce as well? Because it is very much essential that you have such an idea. That will even should inform you on which particular vegetables you want to cultivate. If you don't have that kind of idea, I don't see the reason why you should in the first. I've seen people that say, oh, because people are cultivating ugu in the dry season, they also want to do ugu. What about the return on investment? What about where to sell? I've seen people calling me say, I have 1 acre of cucumber, I have 1 acre of watermelon, and I will be harvesting next week. Can you give me a link to the market? And I begin to wonder, how can you produce to the extent of maturity and you don't even know where to sell? It's baffling. It's surprising. It's discouraging. So you need to understand this factor, that you must understand where you must find out where you want to sell at the average price, because by finding out, when you find out where you want to sell, you will also find out a number of factors: the packaging materials that they use, the packaging, the measure, the average weight of what you need to package per size. You need to understand all this. Otherwise, the market will take care of you. I mean, we take advantage of you. You see, in this market, everybody is in the market in that valuation to take advantage of another. And if they realize that you are a novice, they will take advantage of it. They don't care. I've seen somebody that planted green pepper. And when he wanted to sell, he went to the market to ask a particular dealer how much they do buy a kilo of pepper. And the dealer told him 400 naira per kilo of green pepper. That is the bell pepper. Now, he sold it to the dealer and he was so happy. Maybe he sold around, the first time he sold around 40, 50 kilo. He was so happy that he has made money. But he got to know a week later that around the time that he asked that dealer, what was the price? The price was nothing less than 1,200 naira. Because the dealer realizes that you don't know about it. So he will take advantage. Though that is not a good business price, but it's in every business. Like my mentor used to tell me, don't say I'm being cheated. Somebody cheated you in a business. Nobody cheat another. The person has only been able to take advantage of your ignorance. That is the reason why it is being called a business even in the first place. So you need to understand the market you want to sell to, the location, the average price, and you conduct market intelligence. How do you do that? You go there, you pretend as if you are ready to say, even when your crops are not matured and you are just even planting. Say, oh, can you tell me, how do you buy your watermelon? How do you buy your beetroot? You say, why do you want to know? You say, I have it in my farm. And in real sense you have, but it is not yet matured. But pretend as if you are ready, so that you can get an information, and they will give you their number, because every dealer wants a supply from the customer, from the farmer, in order to retain in business, to continuously be in business. So they will want to exchange their number with, so you can call them once to say, oh, how much? Let's say you have gone to 3 markets, for example, and you have decided at the end of the day you are going to supply to market A. You might want to call market B and market C to know, to have an idea of the average price that they do sell before you supply to market A, so that you can be grounded in your negotiation. Now, Another thing is you need to understand the market trend. There's what we call the market trend. For every vegetables, during the course of the year, there are times that the price will go up and will come down. It's normal. For tomato, it will go up at a particular point in time. It will dive, it will go up again. So you need to understand for every of those vegetables, they have their trend. So in order for you to even to maximize your profit, it's not as if you cannot be all year round producer of tomato. It works. I have seen people doing that, but you might want to be maximizing your profit. For example, an acre of tomato can give you a gross income as much as 1.5 million, 2 million, depending, and it could give you as low as 400,000. That is the gross income. It depends on the time of the year. And also a stand, let's say a 1,000 stand of cucumber, for example, could give you as much as gross income of 150,000, and it could be as low as 70,000. It depends on the time of the year. I'm talking about the same quality, the time of the year. So you might want to target the time of the year that there will be what price, skyrocketing, and also that will also help you in doing crop rotation. Because if you have a limited land resource, you cannot be planting exactly the same crop all throughout the year. So you might want to be rotating from one family of veggies to another. So it's also helping you. So you can draw your production calendar at the beginning of the year. I will start with cucumber, then I will follow with tomato. Then after that, I will divide the plot into two and do beetroot on one side, then carrot on the other side. Then after that, I will do cabbage. You can just be continuing to be. And also, if you have a good sizable land, you might divide your portion, your plot into your land size into different portions and begin to do crop rotation on it. But in doing it, I usually encourage people to do short time veggies like cucumber with some one that are seemingly longer like tomato, because for example a cucumber will give you return on investment very fast, and you can use that to run your business while you are doing long term, or like cabbage, like tomato, like pepper, like watermelon. They are a bit longer, 3 months plus or thereabout. So you can also use the money you are getting from lettuce, for example, the money you are getting from cucumber, for example, to run the business, to pay your worker, to get materials that you need for the other one. So there's a way you need to work. You can combine those activities together. But I understand that you need certain degree of expertise before you can attain that level. And also, in the type of markets that we have the local market. We have, for example, first we have the foreign market, but that is a far-fetched. There's no doubt about it, because before you can have access to foreign market, you must have attained certain perfection in production, because the foreign market it is a very deeply scrutinizing market. To want to scrutinize the best that you have to offer, and then you might need to be looking at, let's say, synchronizing your activity with some other people that you can take the advantage of the foreign market. But I can tell you that it's there. We will get somebody asked me one question that by the time you are encouraging everybody to go into vegetable production, at a particular point in time we will always flood the market. And I told the person, when we get to that bridge, we will cross it. And the way we are going to cross it, by the time enlightened youth and educated people are coming into farming, we are also helping the local people. Though at the initial it may be as if we are competing with them, but at a particular point in time we will break the barrier of exportation, because we are more knowledgeable, we are more skilled, we are lettered. So we break the barrier of exportation that will now help the local farmers as well to access the international market. We are the ones, it's our responsibility. We can do it. There are so many countries that are doing it already. In Kenya, the major source of their revenue from export of veggies. And the market, and we are, if I may shock you, we are closer to the European market than the East African countries that are having the larger chunk of it right now. We are closer to them, but we need to put our house together. So once we get to the time that there's glut in the market, we will break the barrier. We will see people that will lead that will lead the way to break the barrier of exportation. Because when there are no challenges, there can never be solution. You understand? It is when there are challenges that you see people that wants to look for the solution by all means. So we also have the local market. The local market could be around you, and in that local market there are two form of people or form of actors that you'll be seeing: the retailers and the wholesaler. And also you could also you now need to design your production around: do I want to supply to retailers, or do I want to supply directly to the wholesaler, or do I want to even be doing directly to the customer? You can do that. It's very much possible. But the larger your production, then the more you need to tilt your sales towards the wholesaler, because a wholesaler can buy from you in bulk, though at a lesser price, and it is now their responsibility to sell to network of retailers. So you've been able to shift the risk up to somebody. For example, if I have 50 bags of cucumber, I might decide to sell to a wholesaler at the rate of let's say 3,000 naira per bag. Then the wholesaler will sell for 3,500 to a retailer. The retailer per bag will make, on the average, could make like 7,000 naira per bag. But the fact is that a retailer can only afford to buy one bag at a time, and there are times that they are not able to sell everything within that day. It may take 2-3 days on their shelf, and some of them end up rotting. They lose part of it. So, but it is not your business, because you've been able to shift the responsibility to somebody else. And many a time we have seen people looking at the amount that the retailers are selling. You don't look at that in business. For example, if you say, oh, a retailer is selling one piece of, let's say, watermelon for 400 naira, but you sold to the wholesaler for 100 naira, you don't need to bother about it, because it will take a longer time for a retailer to exhaust his own produce, while you have been able to do it once within few hours. Then you've been able to shift the risk to the other actors. So you may not need to be, but because if you really want to say, I want to be selling directly to consumer, so that you can be selling at, let's say, 400 naira per ball of watermelon. The challenge is this: if your farm is large, you may not be able to do. Many of them will end up rotting on your farm unless you are doing phase planting. Even that, it makes things to be complex. You can, but it has to do with your marketing strategy that you've been able to perfect over time. Now, also we have the distance market. Depending on where you are located and what kind of vegetables you are producing, you might look at distance market. For example, let's say you are in Akure, or you are in Ilorin, and you want to target central cities like Abuja, like Port Harcourt, like Lagos. You might want to scale up your production. You remember that you want to target open market, and you scale up your production so that you can take care of transportation cost easily. Many a time people don't understand the fact that even the tomato that are being brought from the north are not being brought, most of them are not being brought directly by the farmers themselves. They don't. The farmers sell to the local market. A merchant go to the local market, aggregate the produce, and put it in a vehicle and send it to Lagos. So it has taken the risk. Buy low from the farmer and wants to sell by, do plus and minus, take care of the. But sometimes they often do, because sometimes I've done before. It's a very risky business in dealing with veggies as commodity. So you might want to look at that. You might also look at some other market like standard market. But the only problem with standard market is that they will not buy from you because they want to please. They will buy from you because they need it. They will buy from you because they need it. You have hotels, you have restaurants, among others. If they don't need, they won't buy from you. So you might need to combine some set of markets together, so that if you don't supply A, if A is not forthcoming with demand, you can quickly shift your sales to B. You understand? And also, you should also understand that for a standard market, some of them will require that you sign a contract, a pre-arranged contract that will determine the price ahead of time, or that will give an idea of the price that they want to buy from you. Is good. There's no doubt about it. If you're able to get that kind of market, you'll be better off, because it will help you in your budgeting and costing, no doubt about it. But one thing about the Nigerian market as it stands is that the standard market is limited in terms of what they get from farmers, in terms of their capacity. People are still sentimental. Consumers are still sentimental towards the open market. So depending on your scale of production anyway, you might want to think around, embracing or approaching standard markets. And also, Always remember that in the market, you need to, but your market and your size of production should go in line. What you want to produce and the market you want to target should be in tandem. That is, the size of the market should determine the size of production. You understand? Because there are some veggies that, for example, that have small consumer base. For example, you can plant 10 acres of tomato at once. You won't have problem with sales when you target the major urban market. But you cannot plant 10 acres of lettuce at once. Nobody will buy it from you. At once, you could do it in phases, but not at once or let's say 10 acres of spring onions. Because the fact is how many people consume it. You understand? So you might want to do such in phase. You need to understand that factor. And then second to the last, your niche decision. Do you want to go for organic farming ideology or conventional one? But in making your decision, understand that the market should determine what you want to do. Many people often say, oh, conventional farming, they want to do organic because of the health aspect. And I do tell them that the conventional farming in itself, which involves the use of agrochemicals, synthetic chemicals, the synthetic chemical that is being used are not bad in themselves, but the usage, because the farmers that are using them don't understand the pre-harvest interval, the re-entry period, the dosage rate. That's the reason why those things are constituting health hazard, exposing consumers to health hazard. So there's a need for government and non-governmental organizations to do more work in sensitizing the farmers to understand all these factors. I'm talking about the one that's not been blacklisted. I know there are some synthetic chemicals that have been blacklisted. I'm not talking about that. So the usage is usually the problem. When you want to be doing conventional farming, you must understand that you need to use your PPD, personal protection equipment, very well in order to safeguard yourself and not to expose yourself to hazard. And you also need to respect people that are going to consume it by observing the instruction written on the label. If you don't understand, you approach an expert to interpret it for you, because by not following the instruction, you are creating hazard. You are exposing the consumers to us, and you need to be nice to people, because nature is such a way that whatever you do to people, nature too will do back to you. And for organic, like I used to say, when you are into organic farming, you should understand that it will give you more stress. You will encounter more stress to produce the same quantity that you could have produced using conventional farming method. But the fact is that your market should be able to compensate for your effort. Your market, in terms of consistency, in terms of price, among other factors. There are a lot of networks that you can use to sell your organic produce. But remember that irrespective of the network, be it online, be it hospitals that you can approach, be it restaurants that you can approach, that they know that you are doing a certified organic farming, remember that they will not always procure or buy things from you because they like you. They will buy because they need it. So you must ensure that you tailor your production in phases towards the trend of demand, towards the degree of demand. So you understand that factor. Because in business, everyone is being careful at what they want to spend. And also, lastly, I want to advise you that if you want to go into vegetable farming, you must grow from small to big. You can't climb a ladder from the very step at the top. You must start from the step below. That is also in every business. You scale up. Because by the time you start small, you understand, you scale up. Because by starting small and understanding, you've created a template that you can build upon. Just like building a very solid foundation upon which you can erect the house upon. If the foundation is shaky, obviously you are going to be having problems as time goes on. And it will look as if you are pumping money in. And not getting the return. You understand? So you must always understand all these three factors combined together. So there are so many things I will have spoken about, but obviously, we have limited time, and I cannot narrowly delve into some things. But you can read a lot about what we do on net through www.ivoryveggies.com and to You may want to contact us to see what we can still do together in the process of time. And I want to tell you that vegetable business is a business that you can wholeheartedly sit on and say, this is what I do for a living. It will pay you. It's something I'm earning so much for, even on a land that there's no structure. In months, in 2 3 months, I rake in millions of naira. But you must understand what you are doing, and by combining these three ingredients which I've mentioned. So I appreciate you for listening, and I look forward for us communicating in the nearest future. Thank you so much.